Actually, for any kind of a spiritual path, for spiritual reflection, for spiritual contemplation, a certain kind of a tranquil mind, a tranquil environment is essential. And it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Prayen alpayushah sabhya khalav asmin yuge jana manda sumanda matayor manda bhagyahya upadritaha. One of the characteristics of people of Kali Yuga is that they will be always disturbed. And we are seeing that happening. And as Kali Yuga progresses, we are seeing that happening to a greater and greater extent in the world today. So people are very disturbed. We have made a lot of progress in technology, in economics, in so many ways. But still, people are very disturbed, people are very unhappy. That has not, all the technology has actually not made us happier and healthy mentally and even physically. Because of the food that we eat and which has all kinds of contaminations and pollution, the air is polluted, water is polluted, earth is polluted, and because of the circumstances, there is a lot of stress. And because of the stress, the immunity system goes down. Our ability to assimilate the nutrients from the food goes down. All of this is interrelated. And as a result, people are very unhappy. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna teaches that we must seek spiritual happiness. Spiritual happiness which is not dependent on the material body and the material circumstances actually completely brings satisfaction. Atman evatmana tushtaha sthita pragnastadhochyate. This is the characteristic of a spiritualist. He has found great spiritual pleasure within himself. He is not seeking material pleasure outside of himself. So that's an advanced spiritual state, but at least we know on that path, we will not be seeking material pleasures which only agitates the mind and makes us filled with anxiety. One can find internal peace. Now, there is also a philosophical way of looking at it. Bhagavad Gita enables us that actually our life happens at two levels. One is the material level of the body, and inside the body is the spirit. And we must be focused on the spiritual well-being, because ultimately we are the spirit. One day we will leave this body. The body which we have been using will be left behind, and the spirit will move on. And the body will be dealt with by the rest of the people who are there and turned into ashes. So even now there is a material level and there is a spiritual level, two levels of our existence. And all of these anxieties that are coming about are because of our engagement and involvement in the material plane and being completely unaware of the spiritual plane. So our Acharya Srila Prabhupada used to give an example. Suppose there is a man, he is dreaming. He is asleep and he is dreaming. And in the dream there is a tiger that is chasing him. Then what can he do? He is full of anxiety. He is stressed out. And how can we help such a person? One way to help a person who is having such a nightmare is to somehow get into his dream with a dream gun and shoot the dream tiger. That's one way. There is yet another way to help a man who is having such a nightmare. You just wake him up, shake him and wake him up, and he will wake up. Oh, once his dream ends, he'll come out and say, there is complete relief, isn't it? Bhagavad Gita presents this method of finding relief. We may have, out of necessity, we may have to engage with the material world, and there may be concomitant anxieties coming because of the engagement with the material world. But if we are awakened to the spiritual reality and if we know the spiritual dynamics, then that will enable us to mitigate the anxieties that is coming from our material engagement. So when we are awakened to spiritual truth, even the anxieties that are there around us because of our material existence, we will know how to not be affected by that. So this is a great lesson. We must learn and practice this in our life, how to be awakened to the spiritual reality while we live in this material world.
Hare Krishna devotees, let us start with prayers. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine
Pashati Shite Shatarine.
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Advait Gadadhara
Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakti Vinda. Prabhuji, I
Hare
thought
Krishna
everybody's
Hare
muted.
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Rama
Rama
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
So put everyone on mute. So today we have a very special topic, that is modes of material nature. So this session is dedicated to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, as the founder Acharya of ISKCON, Hare Krishna movement. So what is there on your screen? Correct? A cigarette box. And what you read on the box, that smoking can cause a slow and painful death. And these instructions are there in all the cigarette boxes. And not only that, there are many doctors who talk about this, that how intoxication is very bad for health, can cause slow and painful death. But still, people smoke. Not only people smoke, even doctors also smoke. They have no control over their senses. Why it is like that? So Arjuna has asked a very interesting question. Arjuna Vacha. Atha kena prayuktoyam papam chariti purusha anichanapi varshneya balladeva niyojita. Arjuna asked the Lord, O descendant of Vrishni, by what one is impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force? So Arjuna is asking a very important question. Today, a lot of people are trying to learn Bhagavad Gita. They are trying to understand what is this philosophy of Bhagavad Gita, what is the purpose of life. But Arjuna is asking another question. He's asking that there are people, those who are aware of Bhagavad Gita, they have read Bhagavad Gita, they know the philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. Still, they commit sinful activities. Why is like that, even after having knowledge of everything? What is that force which makes them commit sinful activities even after having knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, even after knowing everything, what is right, what is wrong? Yes, there are people who are engaged in sinful activities without any knowledge. But there are people, those who have knowledge, still they do these activities. Why it is like that? So Krishna replies in Bhagavad Gita, very interesting. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samudbhava, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidiyena Miha Varina. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is all devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Krishna replies that Arjuna, knowledge cannot save a person unless until his heart is burning with lust, intense
Excuse
material
me.
desire. Hello? So till the point his heart is burning with lust. Lust means what? Lust means intense material desire in the heart. So till the point intense desire in the heart, till the point theoretical knowledge will not work. Just by having knowledge will not help. Why? Because our life is not governed by theoretical knowledge. Our life is governed by many other factors. So let us understand from where this lust has come in our life. So we'll go back to the point of creation, how the creation started. So yes, initially at the starting point, there was one person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he wanted to expand his ananda, his happiness in this creation. So for that, he created innumerable jivas, so many spirit souls, who all are part and parcel of God. Just like we see in this world, when a husband and wife, they get married, then they want to expand their happiness. So what they do, they beget children. So when they get children, they expand their happiness. Like that, you mention the scriptures that there are two worlds. One is called spiritual world, another is called material world. Spiritual world is the beginning of this creation. Spiritual world means where Supreme Personality of Godhead and his name, as mentioned in the Vedas, we address as Krishna. Krishna is the name of Supreme Personality of Godhead because Krishna means who's all attractive. This name is because of this quality. God means who is all attractive. So what is the name of that God? The name of that God is Krishna. Krishna means who is all attractive, who attracts everyone, this entire creation, who is all powerful, who is all beautiful, everything, all the opulence he has. So in the spiritual world, when Krishna created so many jivas, so many spirit souls around him, so why he created all of them? So that all of them can engage in his devotional service. They can help God to expand his happiness, to enjoy more in this material, in this creation. So all the jivas in the spiritual world are simply engaged in devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in that way, they are also in Ananda, and Supreme Personality of Godhead also is in Ananda. But then when this was going on, some of the jivas, they developed two contaminations in their heart. What are these two contaminations? That is also mentioned in the 7th chapter, 27th verse. Krishna explains, Ichcha dvesha samuttena dvanda mohena bharata sarva bhutani sammoham sargayanti parantapa. O sign of Bharata, o conqueror of the foe, All living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities arising from desire and hate. So, in the spiritual world, all the jivas were engaged in pure devotion service to Krishna. But in the spiritual world, Krishna is a center point of this entire creation. He is a supreme enjoyer. He is called Purusha. And all of the jivas are part of Prakriti, means they are enjoyed by Purusha. That is a position of God. So some of the jivas who are part of this Prakriti, they develop this enviousness in their heart. How can only one person is the enjoyer in this entire creation, and all of us are being enjoyed by him? Why is only Purusha? Why is only Supreme Personality of Godhead? And then they develop this desire. Can I also become Supreme Person? Can I also get this position where everybody will serve me and I will be the enjoyer? I will become Purusha. So when this desire came in the heart of a jiva, then as per the creation, it is not possible in the spiritual world. But Krishna is our Supreme Father. God is all merciful. So when he saw this desire in the heart of jivas, some of the jivas, then what he did? He wanted to fulfill their desires. So in order to fulfill their desires, he created another world, which is called material world. Just like in this world also, we see sometimes when the children are grown up, and especially after the marriage, sometimes the son will approach the father and mother that I want to live separately. I cannot stay with you. I want to stay somewhere outside in some independent apartment. I want to live independently. So then the father and mother, both of them have love for their son. They all parents have love their children, whatever they are. Maybe the children rebellious, still they will have love for the children. So in order to fulfill desires of some of the jivas in the spiritual world, Krishna created this material creation. How he created that? So Krishna is a person and he expanded himself into three forms. And these three forms are Vishnu forms. Mahavishnu, or we say Karanadaksha Vishnu, then Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and Shirodaksha Vishnu. Three forms of Vishnu are there. And they got expanded from Krishna. And they all came in this material world. So this entire material creation came up. Why? Because of two things. Ichcha Dvesha Samuddhena, enviousness and desire to become the Lord. So all the jivas who were having pure love for Krishna, actually in the spiritual world, all of us have had that love for the Lord. That love got transformed because of enviousness and desire to lord over other jivas. This love got transformed into lust. Just like milk gets transformed into curd, like that, the pure love which exists only in the spiritual world got transformed into lust. And how it got transformed? That love got transformed into lust by getting in touch with this material nature, this Prakriti. And Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva yoneshu kaunteya murtya sambhavantiya tasham brahma mahad yonir aham bija pradapita. It should be understood that all species of life or son of Kunti are made possible by birth in this material nature. And that I am the seed-giving father, aham bija pradapita. Krishna declares in Bhagavad Gita, he is a father for all jivas in this entire creation. And all of us have come because of Krishna. He is seed-giving father. And now, all the jivas have come here in this material world, but they are carrying one disease. What is a disease in the heart? They have enviousness and they will try to lord over others. So, in this material world, we can see everywhere there is enviousness. We always compare. He has got that, I don't have this. He has got this much, I don't have this much. And because of comparison, our hearts are burning with enviousness. Degree may vary, but everybody has this enviousness in their heart. And everyone in this world is trying to lord over other jivas. Because in the spiritual world, we all wanted to become God. And because of which all of us have come here. God means what? Who is the Supreme Father, Supreme Personality Godhead, and everybody is serving Him. So we all are trying to become master in this material world. Now these two diseases are there in the heart. So Krishna wanted to purify us. That also is the role of the Father. So in order to purify us, He has created this material world not to just fulfill our desires. This material world is also meant for our purification. So material world is compared to like a prison house, or in the Western world we use this term reformatory centers, which are meant to reform, purify the jivas who all have come from the spiritual world. So that is why we see this lording over nature is there at different levels. Correct? Today, all the wars which are happening is because of this only. Everybody is trying to lord over each other. They don't accept anything. They are all fighting with each other. So these wars, these fights which are happening, this is only because of this disease. Nobody likes to become servant. Nobody likes to serve anyone in this world. That is the nature. If anybody is serving, it is only because he's being paid for that. So this material world is like compared to a prison house, and all of us are part of this prison house. Now, if you have a prison house, that means you need somebody to look after this prison house and all the prisoners inside the jail. So who is the jailer? Who is the superintendent of the jail? That duty has been assigned to Krishna's another energy, and that energy is called Durga. So Durga Devi, she is looking after all the jivas who are trapped in this material world. And she has 10 hands. These 10 hands, they represent 10 directions. So she is looking after all the jivas from 10 directions. Just like in a prison house, if you will see there are a lot of CCTV cameras. Right? So Durga has a lot of CCTV cameras. She's looking after each and every jiva, whether they are getting purified or not. And the prison house, correct? Prison house is not a very happy place to be in. There will be dukha also. It's like a jail. It's not. So Durga Maya, she is having a trident in her hand, and that trident represents 3 kinds of kaleshas which she is giving to all the jivas. So these 3 kaleshas are actually meant for purification of all the jivas in the material world. So what are these 3 kaleshas? These 3 kaleshas are Adi Bhautik Kalesh, Adhyatmik Kalesh, and Adi Devik Kalesh. Adi Bhautik Kalesh means the problems or the miseries we get here in this material world because of other living entities around us. Just like a mosquito biting you, or a human being is creating problems for you. Maybe he is your client or your relative or your some enemy, anybody who is creating problems for you. That jiva is creating Adi Bhautik Kalesh in your life. Adhyatmik Kalesh. Adhyatmik Kalesh means your body, your mind itself is designed in such a way that they are also giving you some miseries. So we can see there are so many different types of diseases which are there. Correct? So many problems are there in this body. Skin problem, heart problem, this thing, cancer, AIDS, so many problems which are connected with this material body. And then your mind itself. If your mind is not in your control, senses are not under your control, they also create a lot of problems. Your mind is not peaceful, then you cannot be happy. Your mind under stress, anxiety, that also creates a lot of problem for you. So Adhyatmika Kalesh means the problems which you get from our own body mind system. And then the third Kalesh is called Adi Devi Kalesh. Adi Devi Kalesh means the problems which you get from other devtas, higher living entities. So in this material world, we have to understand, just like in a country, to manage the entire country, you have a lot of bureaucrats, ministers, correct? They manage different departments. Similarly, to manage this entire material creation, there are 33 crores of devtas. Devtas means there are personalities who are managing different departments, like wind department, rain department, fire department. So many departments are there. They all are managing. But they also create problems for us. How they create problems for us? They give us natural calamities in the form of earthquakes, floods, correct? Tornadoes, cyclones, all these are results of Adi Devi Kalesh. Like right now, we can see a lot of climatic changes are happening all over the world. So these are all Adi Devi Kalesh. So all the jivas are here in this material world. This is like a prison house. These three kaleshas are given to us. For what? For our purification. We can become free from this enviousness, lording over nature. And when the prisoners are kept in a prison house, then prisoners are bound by sometimes chains, correct? So that they don't run away. They are always kept under control. So, like that, we are also bound by three chains in this material world. Nobody is free to act. We cannot act anyway, whatever we want. No, our actions are governed by Prakriti. Prakriti is controlling our activities. How Prakriti controls our activities? Like puppets. Correct? If you see a puppet show, so there is a puppeteer, he is controlling the puppets through some threads. So, like that, we are also controlled by three types of ropes. And these three ropes, they are controlled by Prakriti, and Prakriti is being controlled by Krishna himself again. So let us understand what are these three ropes which are controlling our activities. Because based on the influence of a particular rope, we act in a different way. So it is mentioned that ahankar vimudatma kartamiti manyate. Only because of false ego, people think that they are independent. They can act in whatever they want. But that is not the case. Our activities are governed by three modes of material nature. We are not free to act. Somebody is controlling our activities. So let us understand what are these three ropes which are controlling us. So the first rope which is controlling us is the rope of mode of goodness, or we say Sattva-guna. The mode of goodness rope is better than the other two ropes. Why this rope is better than other two ropes? Because mode of goodness means which gives us peaceful life. We get material happiness. We get a lot of satisfaction in whatever activities we do. Why we are peaceful in mode of goodness? Because when you are under the influence of mode of goodness, you have better control over your mind and senses. You have more clarity in your mind about everything. You are more disciplined. So We can see around us, there are people who are very regulated, very disciplined in their life. You will see some people, they sleep on time, rise up early in the morning at the same time, they eat on time, correct? Very regulated, disciplined. That means they are under the influence of Saptoguna, mode of goodness. So, mode of goodness is very favorable for spiritual life because only through mode of goodness we can understand this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita scriptures. We can develop inclination for spiritual activities when we are under the mode of goodness. We can easily advance when we are in the mode of goodness. Correct? Because in the mode of goodness, we have less of material desires and more of desires which are towards spiritual advancement. So that is a mode of goodness is very favorable for spiritual life. Below mode of goodness, the second robe is called mode of passion, or we say Rajoguna. Mode of passion means which creates lot of material desires in the heart. When the person's heart is burning with lot of material desires, that means he's under the rope of mode of passion. And this makes a person restless. He is very stressed because these desires are always there. They want a lot of name, fame, wealth, position, something they want. So they work very hard. So they are always in action. So they work very hard to fulfill their desires. And you will see these people are always in hurry. You will not see them peaceful, always in anxiety, constantly checking their phones and always feeling that I should not fall back anywhere. I should not miss out on anything. Always in hurry. And because they work very hard, so there will be some creation. Something they will create. So all the new technologies which is coming up in this world, new inventions which are happening, it is because there are people who are working in the mode of passion. So always some new thing, something new will be coming. But this is not the real purpose of life. Even if we create something very big in this material world, after all, death can come anytime, take away everything. So this is very difficult for them to understand. So anyway, this is called mode of passion, which makes a person to fulfill his intense material desires. And of course, they are not peaceful. And because they are not peaceful, they are not satisfied, they can never be happy. They are always in anxiety. And below this mode of passion, there is third robe, which is called mode of ignorance. Mode of ignorance means when a person becomes helpless, they cannot do anything. It brings a lot of laziness in the mind of a person. His consciousness becomes very foggy. He cannot clearly think about anything. There is lack of awareness in the mode of ignorance. There is no motivation to work. Correct? And sometimes these people can become destructive towards their own self or towards others. So, you see people sometimes they go along in a lot of depression, sometimes they commit suicide. All these things happen because of mode of ignorance. And it also brings a lot of madness in them. So that they lose their temper and they go into different types of addictions, drugs, intoxication. So it is very self-destructive. So this kind of mode always brings destruction. They are going to harm somebody or they are going to harm themselves. All these things happen in the mode of ignorance. Correct? So like that, there are three types of people who are governed by these three modes. Mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Ignorance means full of madness, intoxication, sometimes addiction, laziness, No, not interested in any work. Passion means always working very hard, always running around, full of anxiety, no peace, no happiness, never satisfied with anything in this world. And mode of goodness means when the person is satisfied on a material platform. Here we're not talking about spiritual life, we're talking on a material platform. Mode of goodness means more discipline, more eagerness towards spiritual knowledge, a regulated life. That is called mode of goodness. So ideally, human form life is meant for coming in the mode of goodness. That is favorable for our spiritual life. And then these modes, they also act as per the places. So there are 3 places which are in different modes. Just like if you go to a nightclub, in a bar, where everybody is engaged in intoxication, that is under the mode of ignorance. Tamoguna is very heavy. Mode of ignorance is very heavy. If you go there in that place, you will also get influenced by mode of ignorance. And when we go to a workplace where everybody is working very hard, whole day they are working very hard, planning new things, that is a mode of passion. A lot of passion is involved. And when we go to spiritual places like temples, they are under the mode of goodness. In fact, temples are even above mode of goodness. They are in the mode of pure goodness. They are not under the influence of any of the modes. So that is why when we go to a temple or any religious place where systematically there is worship of God happening, people are serving the Lord, you will feel there is peace, there is no anxiety. Immediately, as soon as you enter a temple, you become free from all types of problems in your life. You will feel like that because there is an influence of Saptoguna, pure goodness. Even the entire day is also divided into 3 modes. Like the morning time is a time of Sattoguna, mode of goodness. That is a morning you will see everything is peaceful around us. Correct? Less of noise pollution, sound pollution, all that. Everything is settled. Why it is mode of goodness. And daytime, when everybody is running towards their office, afternoon time, everybody is working, that is a mode of passion. And late in the evening, that is a time of mode of ignorance, when we feel laziness, we are not inclined to do anything, we just want to wind up our activities. That is mode of ignorance. So, how can I change my modes? Correct? Very important question. A lot of people ask this question. If these 3 modes are acting on me, and if I want to change my modes, how can I change my modes? What is that thing I have to do to change my modes, my activities? Because ultimately, my activities are governed by these 3 modes. So before I change my activities, I have to change the influence of modes on me. So that is why we have to understand that everything starts with the food, what we eat. Food has a direct influence on your gunas, on your nature. So food which comes in the mode of goodness is called sattvic food. They are in the category of food which is juicy, fatty, wholesome, and pleasing to heart and pure in nature. This is a food which is in the mode of goodness, Sattva. So why it is Sattva? Because it increases the duration of life, it purifies your existence, it gives you strength, it gives you material happiness because your mind becomes peaceful when you take sattvic food. And it is also good for your health, your heart, and it also gives you mental clarity. In that way, mode of goodness is very favorable for human form life because it takes us more closer to spirituality. Correct? And then the next one, mode of passion. So foods, those who are bitter, too salty, or too hot, or overly mixed with red pepper, this is the food which is a mode of passion, Rajoguna. Correct? So, Rajoguna food means nutrition value is very less, but they are generally taken because of taste buds. And they immediately increase your passion. Just like sometimes you will see people in their workplaces, if they're getting tired, immediately will see, oh, I will take coffee, I will take some black tea to work more. So generally people think that by drinking black tea and coffee, it will increase their productivity. Actually, these things are increasing their Rajoguna, mode of passion. It is making their mind and senses more agitated. So that is actually not the solution. We are in fact going in the mode of passion by taking all these things. They're harming our real nature. They are depriving us from real peace, satisfaction, happiness in life. So basically, this kind of food, they destroy the body mind equilibrium. So they disturb the position of mind. They create a lot of anxiety in the mind, desires. So this is mode of passion. And the lowest mode is called mode of ignorance. Tamasic. So food prepared which is tasteless, no taste is there. You have to add spices in that food if you want to eat that. Decomposed, putrid, and food consists of remnants and untouchable. So as per the Vedas, all the different types of meat products are considered to be untouchable. If you happen to touch them, you are meant to take bath, meant to purify yourself. That is the food it is, as per the Vedas. So they increase sometimes on a material platform infection, disease, and they bring down consciousness of a person to lower modes. They bring down our consciousness. We cannot think about spiritual subject matters. We'll never be able to develop taste for them. So this is called mode of ignorance. As our name suggests here, it takes us towards more ignorance in this material world. So food can actually affect your moods, your level of alertness, and your behavior also. Even on a material platform, what to speak of spirituality. Correct? There was one article like that, anger management tips, 6 foods to avoid when you feel angry. So there is some research which has been done, in which they have found that if you avoid certain types of foods in your life, then you can get rid of anger problem. Very interesting. So even your behavior can change if you can change your food habits. Because all this, whether you talk about anger and other issues are actually connected with the modes of material nature. So by taking sattvic food, if we can come under the mode of goodness, then we can get rid of all these bad qualities in our life slowly. Correct? So, yes. So even charity also, when people do charity, that also comes into 3 modes. So it is mentioned that charity given out of duty without expectation of return at the proper time and place to a worthy person is considered to be in the mode of goodness. So a lot of people do charity, but they don't know charity also can be done in 3 modes. So when we do charity in the mode of goodness, that means at a proper time, at a proper place, and to a worthy person. And then out of duty, very important, you're not expecting anything in return. Out of duty, you feel for it. That is my duty to do this seva. Just like I mentioned in the beginning of this session, the duty of all the jivas, why the jivas were creating this entire creation. All the jivas were creating this entire creation so that they can serve the Lord. So when we do charity in that direction to serve the Lord, to a worthy person, who is that worthy person? The worthy person is who is trying to spread God consciousness, who is helping jivas to go back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world. The person who is trying to spread this knowledge, that person is a worthy person. So when we do charity for that person at a proper time, at a proper place means a good place, correct, where you want your charity to go in a proper direction. So the highest level of welfare activity, as mentioned Bhagavad Gita, is to spread knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in this world, in this creation, to remove ignorance. So some people generally ask this question, why not opening hospitals? Why not opening schools? Why not other charitable activities? Why only Bhagavad Gita? So we have to understand, if there is any hunger problem, or if there is some poverty problem, if there is any problem in this world, then we have to understand the root cause is that all of us have performed some karma in our previous life. Based on our karmic reactions, we take birth in a certain family and we go through dukkha. So just imagine if we can give this knowledge to people, that what kind of karmas they have to perform in their life so that it will not suffer in future. That means precaution is better than cure. Why I have to work for the cure? I have to work for the precaution. I have to stop all these activities, these problems at a root level. So the precaution is that if I can stop people from committing sinful activities, then I actually am saving them from going through that misery, where the poverty-stricken condition, hunger problem, no problems will be there in this world. If we simply follow laws of nature, if we follow instructions of God. So the highest welfare activity is that if we can make people aware about the real purpose of life, about the desire of the God behind His creation, then we can even help people to get liberation. They don't even have to take another birth. They can even go back to the spiritual world. So that is why when we do charity for the highest level of welfare activity, then that is considered a mode of goodness. And again, out of duty, without expecting anything. But charity performed with expectation of some return or with a desire for fruitive results or in a grudging mood is said to be charity in the mode of goodness, passion. Mode of passion means that you do some charity and you have some expectation that, whether my name will be announced or not, whether they will glorify my position, or sometimes in a grudging mood, you do charity because of some force, and later on you repent, you feel, why I did that charity. I've just given so much of money to that person, that organization, or you are expecting something in return. Oh, if I do this charity, then my bank balance, something should improve. This is all mode of passion when there is some desire. And charity performed at an impure place, at an improper time, to unworthy persons or without proper attention and respect is said to be the mode of goodness, ignorance. So when we do charity without any proper knowledge, without understanding where the charity has to be done, we simply do because we have to do some charity and we do it to anyone without knowing their background, whether they are going to use that money in some wrong activities. We don't check that. So all this is because of mode of ignorance. So like that, there are three predominating personalities, deities in this creation who are controlling these three modes. There is one person, Brahma, who is controlling mode of goodness. Lord Vishnu controls mode of goodness. Lord Shiva controls mode of ignorance. And it is mentioned that sometimes the mode of passion becomes prominent, defeating the mode of goodness, or son of Bharata. And sometimes the mode of goodness defeats passion, and other times the mode of ignorance defeats goodness and passion. In this way, there is always competition for supremacy. So it is not that we are always under the influence of one mode. Always the modes are changing. Sometimes you get under the influence of goodness, sometimes passion, sometimes ignorance. Based on that, your activities keep changing. So ideally, we have to come to this mode of goodness so that we can regulate our life, we can live a more disciplined life. And that is how we can make progress towards spiritual life. We can develop taste for spiritual activities. So it is mentioned in the scriptures that we are even taking birth in different types of species because of this modes of material nature. So there are 84 lakh species, and all the species are designed based on the influence on different modes of material nature. Correct? So, like that, we are transformed, getting different bodies. How it is happening, that we have to understand that we are getting under the influence of different modes, and these modes, they influence our desires. And based on desires, whatever desires you will have at the time of death, based on that, you're getting different bodies. So, like that, everything is interconnected. So, we can change our desires if we can change the influence of modes, and we can change the influence of modes if we are in the right association. So, it is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, when one dies in the mode of passion, he takes birth among those engaged in fruitive activities. When he dies in the mode of ignorance, he takes birth in the animal kingdom. So when we die in the mode of tamoguna, we take birth in animal kingdom. And when one dies in the mode of goodness, he attains to pure higher planets. So in this material world also, above Earth, there are many heavenly planets. So when person dies in the mode of goodness, he takes birth in heavenly planets, higher planets. But this is also not the goal of life. Why? Because even if you take birth in heavenly planets, again you have to come back in this material world. Again, you have to again take birth like that. And we are simply going through this cycle of birth and death every life. So the real goal of our life, human form of life, is that we are all meant to go back to Godhead, back to the spiritual world, from where all of us have come here. So what is the solution? The solution is that first thing is we have to accept our position that I am in a prison house. And just like we go in a prison house, you will see prisoners, generally they are engaged in different types of activities, some work in the prison house. Just like you go to a Tihar jail. So in Tihar jail, they have a lot of engagements for prisoners. Some prisoners will be engaged in some cooking activities. Some prisoners will be engaged in some other, art and craft work. Some like that. Different engagements they have for prisoners there inside the jail. But whatever activities they will do inside the prison house, we have to understand that is not their real activity, not the real duty of their life. All these duties are being assigned to them till the point they are there inside the prison house. What is the real duty? The real duty is when they will come out of the prison house. Means when we'll come out of this material world, when we go back to the spiritual world, we'll attain our real duty, real engagement, which is to serve the Lord. So sometimes people think that I have so many duties to perform. How can I engage myself in spiritual activities? How can I read Bhagavad Gita? How can I attend these seminars like this? Sometimes it feels like very difficult. But we have to understand all these duties which we have got in this material world are only till the point we are here in this material world. These duties are temporary in nature. Not only that, these duties keep changing every life. Like in this life, in this body, whatever duties I have, these duties will be there till the body is there. After I give up this body, all these duties will vanish after some time. Similarly, just like in a prison house, all the prisoners, they get some duties to perform, whether cleaning, cooking, whatever they have to do. But those duties are there till the point that prisoner is inside the jail. That is not his real duty. So what is my real duty? That also we have to get fully convinced. My real duty is actually I'm part and parcel of God, and I'm meant to serve Him. So God is compared to like fire, and we are like the sparks of fire. And today that spark has fallen from spiritual world, from the spiritual world to the material world. So this spark of fire, when it has fallen, then we have to understand our position is that we are in a big ocean. and we are struggling here, and we want Lord to take us back home, back to the spiritual. That is our wish. So when that spark of fire falls on a water body, then what happens? That spark will get extinguished. This water is compared to mode of ignorance. So when we go in the mode of tamoguna ignorance, we lose our urge for spiritual inquiry. We lose our urge to know about the truth. We lose our urge to even understand the reality of this creation, because the spark has fallen in water. Water is like mode of ignorance. So what happens? We become too deluded to recognize Krishna's instructions and too lazy to perform austerities. Even if somebody tells us about Bhagavad Gita, instructions of God, we are not inclined to take those instructions and very lazy to perform any thoughts. When that spark falls on a green grass, then the fire will be there for some time, but still, because it's a green grass, little wet, this will get extinguished after some time, that spark. So mode of passion means lot of material desires. So they desire so much in the heart that the person's mind is not peaceful. And if your mind is not peaceful, you cannot take to spirituality. Not easy to sit and chant, read Bhagavad Gita. So mode of passion means they cannot give up fruitive activities because they have unlimited desires. So they are very much attached to material things, and they are even committing sinful activities. So you will see a lot of people, they commit sinful activity to earn money because they want to fulfill their desires somehow or other by hook and crook. So when they do all the sinful activities, they further go down. They lose interest in spiritual activities. They lose that hunger, urge for knowing spiritual truth, because they do a lot of sinful activities for earning. But if that spark of fire falls on a dry grass, then that spark of fire can pick up fire, because dry grass is favorable for fire. So mode of goodness, Sattva-guna, is the best mode if you're really interested to know the truth, to make advancement in the spiritual life. But mode of goodness also is something which is part of this material world. So mode of goodness can also trap us. How mode of goodness can trap us? Because in mode of goodness, a person becomes very peaceful, satisfied. So they sometimes feel that I want to be here in this material world, settled, because my life is very peaceful. I don't have anything to gain in my life. And sometimes because this mode of goodness brings a lot of knowledge. So people, those who are mode of goodness, they read a lot of books. They have a lot of knowledge. So it brings some sense of superiority complex. They don't feel that humility to accept instructions of God in Bhagavad Gita. So generally when we approach these people, they say, I already know everything. I have knowledge. So not easy. But still, mode of goodness is favorable. But spiritual life means that we have to go even above mode of goodness. There real spirituality starts. And that state is called Vasudev state, a state in which one can understand the science of God. So how can I transcend even mode of goodness? How can I become free from these three ropes which are binding me in this material world? So Krishna explains very nice in the 14th chapter, 26th verse, Mam chayo vyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samitit yetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who engages in full devotion service, who does not fall down in any circumstance, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahma. In the sense, what Krishna is trying to explain here is that when you get in touch with fire, correct? If you keep one iron piece of rod in touch with fire, piece of iron rod in touch with fire, that iron rod will also become like fire after some time. So fire is compared to like Krishna himself, God himself, because God is above these three modes. He is controlling these modes of material nature. So if you get in touch with the God himself, you take his association, who is compared to like a fire, then you will also develop all qualities what God has. And you will become free from these lower modes of material nature. Now question arises, how can I take association of God always. How can I protect myself from the influence of these three modes? So for that, God has given us a very simple process that we have to chant His holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So when we chant the holy name of God, then what happens? We are protected by this influence of these three modes, by the illusion of this material world. This material world has convinced us that this is reality, whatever we are seeing. This is the life. This is everything. Don't think beyond death. Don't think beyond this life. All this is because of influence of modes of material nature. Actually, we have to understand all of us have come here in this material world from somewhere, and after that we go somewhere. But nobody is asking this question. From where I have come, where I will go after death. Why? Because they are kept in this illusion by the influence of modes of material nature. So when we chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and we spend some time for reading scriptures like Bhagavad Gita, then we are actually cracking that illusion which has trapped us. So if we can come out of this illusion, then we can think of liberation. Then we can think of another creation, which is spiritual world, which we are not aware of, which nobody is talking about, nobody is aware of. Everybody is thinking this world all in all. Nobody thinks about beyond this world. So that thought process will start when we come out of this influence of three modes of material nature. And that is only possible when we take constant association of Krishna by chanting his holy names, by reading his scriptures like Bhagavad Gita instructions, and not only reading, whatever time we get, we have to think about them. We have to do a lot of manan, thinking of all the instructions, whatever is there in Bhagavad Gita. So when a person is fully absorbed in right kind of association and is in touch with the Lord always, trying to chant his holy name, trying to remember instructions of Bhagavad Gita, then he will always be protected by the influence of these three modes. Okay, so I will end here. If anybody has any question, you can ask. Okay, so I will end here, and all our devotees can spare time to chant the holy names more and more, read Bhagavad Gita as much as possible, and this way we can make very systematic advancement in our spiritual life. So thank you very much for joining us. Hare Krishna.